Hello, everybody. My name is Joy Universe, your Majesty Geeky and Nerdy, and welcome to a new episode. And today I'm talking about a movie that I've seen that actually has impressed me, and that is Blade Runner. I've actually seen it for the very first time ever, so I'm just gonna give my own review on it, my own innovations on it, and just kind of give you guys a rundown on what I think of the movie in as a total. In the year of 2019, I think this is. I think that's when it takes place. It's either 2019 or 2020 or something like that. I think it's 2019. Harrison Ford played a man by the name of Deckard, who is called Blade Runner, and he is considered one of the greatest, basically hitmen slash bounty hunters in the known future. He wants them to hunt down three of what are called um, let me see, replicants, and these replicants are basically, essentially, they're like cyborgs, but not. Basically, what they are is they are basically cyborgs with human implants, but they are not human. They do have human emotions, human feelings, humans, different things, but in total, they are just completely unhuman in regards to this. And I gotta say, the main villain of this all really stands out in this. I mean, he really had that intervention of you can basically see the evil within his eyes and everything. And all the replicants, all four of them, all show what they can do. They're super strong, they're super fast, they're super agile, they're sneaky, they're cunning, they're manipulative. They will do things that nobody else will ever think to do. And definitely one replicant, the female at the strip club it was, she really did a good job of pretending that she was not a replicant until Harrison Ford really kind of got it out of her in regards, and then ended up in that famous chase scene down the thing. In terms of beautiful looking movies, I did review probably one of the third um, most watched videos on the channel, and that is Battle Angel Alita, which I've talked about, and I talked about how beautiful that movie looked, and it does look beautiful even still to this day. And Blade Runner, my God, it was really damn impressive and beautiful. I mean, you can tell that it's early CGI, granted, but it's beautiful looking, great CGI as well, and I can see why this is considered uh, one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever portrayed. Now, the interaction between Deckard and one of the replicants that he actually teamed up with, the one that helped him in all of his investigations, when he actually began to fall in love with her and began to really open up to her, we were seeing more of a human side to him. Because, if I can be honest, in this, he kind of acts like a replicant. He does things without thinking. He does whatever that he wants to. He sort of breaks out in certain places, and he just doesn't think in certain situations like an actual human would. He just reacts rather than thinks, and it brings up the question of, is Deckard really a replicant in this, or is just a person that's just following orders like any good person would, and that what really it brings out the question behind Harrison Ford in the movie as well. But the replicants themselves are really well drawn, well created characters, and they all have their different attributes and whatnot that really make them stand out. One of them is basically the right hand woman of the main villain, who almost acts like basically Harley Quinn, and I think that that's what kind of drew me to her. She acts a lot like Harley Quinn. They did have that toxic romance, which, so to speak, where Harley would basically is more of a Joker woman than she is anybody else's, but she will try to tease you into basically going to her. Whereas you know that if you go to her, your boyfriend or husband is just going to fight straight out murder you. And um, yeah, there's a lot of things that do happen in this movie where they explain what happened with the replicants and whatnot, and it does feel a lot like it's very inspired and based on Ghost in the Shell. And Ghost in the Shell is a very great movie as well that I've seen, never talked about, but really enjoyed it. And it really seems like something that they really adapted from Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell, again, very beautiful looking movie, very inspiring movie, and the cyborgs in it really kind of remind me of the replicant that I've seen in Blade Runner, and it definitely has that feeling of what is going on. Now, when the movie opens up, it starts up slow, granted, and when it starts really going, it gets really impact. It is a slow moving movie. It really is for what it is worth, but it gets better as time goes on. Like I think I even said that in my Alito Battle Angel review where I stated that the movie was slow, but it gets better. It's the same here with Blade Runner. It goes at a slow pace, it starts at its own pace, and it works as it keeps going and everything. Um, Definitely, you have an all-star cast that is working in this. Besides just Harrison Ford himself, I mean, really all-star cast. Everybody just brings out the best that they can be in this. I mean, even if you just look at the poster there, I mean, you have a really stellar cast. You don't have Harrison Ford, you have Edgar White, Sean Young, Edward James Olmos. I mean, you have a really stellar looking cast in this, and it really, stands out above what is normal for average, usual um, cast. Would I definitely say that this is a worth watcher, something that people should really put their time and effort into actually seeing? And I'm going to say that the answer is obviously yes. That this is something that you should really be worth watching because it is not just a story of a man who is evolving. It is also a story of really how one person who was known as this really wicked killer in the past really becomes this great superhero by the end of it, and really is a stellar performance by everybody. I mean, there is a moment where the enemy basically takes a nail because his hand started like cramping up or something. He takes a nail and he pushes it through his own hand, signifying that maybe he is cyborg, but he still is human on the inside. And that's something that is very well established in the movie too. Like maybe you are a replicant, maybe you are this cyborg or clone of a person, but in your own way, you are who you say that you are. And there's a really weird thing that they do in this, which is basically like human questioning, like how they would tape you up to a lie detector machine and ask you different questions, and then you would say yes or no regarding on the question that you're being asked, and told the truth, and the lie detector machine will pick up whether or not you're telling the truth. And they have a similar thing to this, but they have to ask something like 300 and something questions. If like I couldn't even remember probably question one, and you have to ask like 300 and something questions. I don't think I could remember all the questions that are being asked. So in my regard, Blade Runner is probably worth your time, especially for like sci-fi movies. It is a hard rated R. There is some nudity in it. There is drug references. There is of course alcohol references and everything. But it is still worth a worthy contender of your money and of your time. Definitely. I was surprised that I actually found this at a old movie store that was very much reminiscent of a basically blockbuster or movie store that I used to shop at as a kid, and I managed to pick it up very easily a couple days before my birthday. Yes, yeah, a couple days before my birthday, and I managed to pick it up for only like $5, which was actually pretty much of a steal, in my opinion. So I do believe that Blade Runner is worth your time. If you haven't seen Blade Runner already, I guarantee that you should watch it. It is definitely a worthy contender of your time. Do I think that the sequel 20 2094, I think it's called, do I think that, or 2049 actually, do I think that that is worth your time? I don't know. I haven't seen the sequel yet. I've only seen the one film, the one Blade Runner. So, again, stellar performances, and one question that probably you'll be asking yourself, just like I did, was Deckard really a replicant? That's the question for the ages. And also one other thing that's strange about replicants I just want to bring up, they do have a short lifespan. So this means that anyone can die at basically at whatever point. Whenever that, I think if like they only live for like 7 years. When you're 7 years up, they're up. in regard. So it's either two things are gonna happen. You just fall dead flat, or you just keep on going. So if you like a lot of other sci-fi movies like Back to the Future, RoboCop, a lot of other like sci-fi movies like Star Wars and whatnot, I can guarantee that you will enjoy Blade Runner. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm with the Universe, you're Max the Geeky and Nerdy, saying that I'll see you next time.